Okay, so we're joined today with Jima6636 for our first edition of Meet the Community. You should all know Jim out there. He's a massive bloke on YouTube and also Twitter. So welcome to our video, Jim.
Thanks, bro.
No worries. So just tell us a little bit about yourself first of all, Jim.
I got in this iPhone thing about 4 or 5 years ago, I guess it'd be, and it was more of a mistake than anything. Not saying it's a mistake, but it was just I got an iPhone and got it because it was a new thing out, had no clue about it. I worked as a manager at a restaurant, and some kid had a jailbroken iPhone, and I don't know, it kind of went from there. I seen his Nest on his iPhone, and I wanted a Nest on my iPhone, and went home and went to work and looked up on YouTube and stuff, and it just kind of soared from there. And I don't consider myself a hacker. I'm just a helper. I look at my phone and I mess with it, and I know a lot about it, and it's something I like to do. It's a good hobby for me.
Okay, so have you owned all the iPhones out there since the original one, or?
I had the iPhone 2G, the 3G, the 3GS, the iPhone 4, the iPod 2G, and the iPad 1.
And have you still got the iPad, or are you a big iPad user?
Actually, I bought it for my wife. I probably have used it 10 minutes since I've had it for 2 or 3 minutes now. I just, she's not a computer person, so she wanted something that she could play games and watch videos if she wanted to. And so that was something I figured, it would be something she would use and wouldn't have the whole shabeel of the internet to deal with and the computer and all that crap.
Okay, so I would say that you're a key member of our iCommunity, Jim. But what do you see your role as? You're constantly on Twitter, but what do you see your main role as in the community?
I'm basically just somebody that likes to help people if I can. I'm nothing more than the average user. I'm just there to help people, basically. If I can help somebody get whatever they need, then I'll do it for them. That's basically what I'm there for.
Excellent.
That's what the whole community should be about, helping one another. But sometimes, we get caught up in stuff, and we don't always go that route. But we're a good community for the most part. I think people just see what they want to see and see the little bitty bad that's in it, and they think it's the whole community, and that's not the case.
So you run a website called The Basement. How did that come about?
Well, obviously you can see I'm in a basement, and when I first started YouTube, the average iPhone blogger or helper, I guess you want to say, was probably about 16. Now when I started, I was like 31. So when you see a guy in a basement, and you're a troll, your basic instinct is to be like, you live in your basement with your mom and this and that. And instead of taking negative towards it, I took it and used it. That was the best way to do it, because to me, it's funny. If you want to troll me, you still give me views. You still get my name out there. That's what it is, what it is.
Exactly. You've also done, I see that you've started, well, for the last year or so, and probably longer, you've done a few themes. How did you get into the theming? You said that you started with some lad where you worked jailbreaking, but how did you get into the theme scene?
I've always been into the theme scene. As soon as I could figure out that you could go in through OpenSSH and change files around, I was trying to do anything I possibly could. As in making stuff, I had no clue. I couldn't use Photoshop if my life depended on it back in, when I first started. So I found ways around it. I actually used a lot of online editors and stuff that was like a cheap generic version of Photoshop, like a really cheap generic. And I had a lot of people that would always tell me that, hey, Jim, you should get in, learn Photoshop. And I just finally picked it up probably about a month and a half ago.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I'm doing all right. I'm Photoshop is a godsend. That's all I can say, because the way I was doing it before was it was not the best way to do it. Because if I would make an image, and it would take me 3 hours to make an image, and then I put it on my device and I see there was a mistake, I literally had to start from scratch.
Yeah.
With Photoshop, you got the PSDs, you can go back in and change things around, and it doesn't affect nothing. So it was a smart thing for people to tell me to get into, and I'm glad I finally did. But it was just theming. It was just one of them things. I think I changed my carrier was the first thing I changed, because when I started, they had spicy chicken.
Yeah, spicy chicken. I said the other day that we should bring that back. Spicy chicken was, I think it was the ultimate, and I think it still is, to be honest with you.
Well, you figure, you look at your Cydia number. I have 4 numbers in my Cydia number. That's how long I've been around.
Wait, let me check mine. You made me want to check mine now, Jim. I think I have 5.
A lot of people have, when I send them my Cydia number, they're like, what is that? And I'm like, that's my Cydia number. They're like, have you been there since friggin' Cydia started? I'm like,
you must have jumped on Cydia as soon as it was about, rather than Installers.
I was on Installer first with 1.1.4.
Yeah.
But Cydia was out, and you could actually download it, but I never got it because Installer was the thing.
It was, yeah. Back in those days, Cydia was the joke.
Yeah, and that was the thing. It was terrible at first. I mean, it got better. I mean, there's still some things, obviously, like any technology can be worked out. But, Cydia became one of them things that now everybody uses. It's like pretty much it, unless you, I don't know, what is there, like, what was that one? Icy?
Icy, yeah, that died. And
yeah, it's like people just don't leave things dead. It's like they try to bring them back, and if you can't be as good as Cydia, even with Cydia's bugs, then you might as well forget it.
I've got 6 numbers in my Cydia ID, so I haven't been around as long as you, but I have. Yeah. But so what are some of the themes that you've created, and where can people find them, Jim?
Black Gold HD is on Max City. That was just a plain nice black gold slick theme that was created with no Photoshop, no GIMP, no nothing. Then I did Azurite HD, which in my personal opinion, and I've told people, I said it's a nice theme for my first Photoshop theme, but it wasn't a theme that I personally liked because it was real clunky and real bulky. You know what I mean? It screamed at you, and that's not something, that I would put on my device. But all my themes are either on Max City or ModMine.
Yeah.
Now, I have my own repo that I throw up some stuff here and there, and that's Jima6636.com / or / whatever the hell it is. Midgets. So, and people will think it's not a real repo, but it is.
It is a real repo. I've got stuff hosted there. It is.
Follow the Basement Repo on Twitter, in the bio, that's how you can add stuff if you want to. We accept pretty much anything that you create. We don't accept cracked apps. We don't accept stolen anything. And we're not afraid to pull it off if it's something in there. We're not trying to outdo anybody. We're just trying to have something different.
Yeah.
And if you go to the Basement Repo, you can see just by some of the stuff we throw up there, as in jokes, like in the descriptions and stuff, we're not like everybody else.
But it's a reliable repo, and there is some good stuff on there, I have to say.
Absolutely. I got a guy that does keyboards, and he makes some great keyboards. In my last video, people were asking me about the Giants keyboard that I had.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and he does, he puts all his keyboards up there, and Jay Adler, who not hosts my repo, but is basically my partner. He's the one that does all the repo work. He does all the coding for the keyboards, and he's pretty much got that down packed with the coding for everything. So they're really good keyboards.
Excellent.
I'm probably going to be putting a free theme up, full theme up here soon. I got one on my beta repo, which that's a private repo for my beta guys that I'm working on, because I want to throw some more things up there. I haven't thrown anything up in a few months, so I need to. And I'm going to be working on some separate little themes like FaceTime themes, call bar themes, just to put up there to give people different options for different stuff. You know what I mean? And that's what we're looking for. You can make a full theme, or you can make a theme just for an app or something. Whatever you create, send it over. We'll put it up for you.
I think the repo's a really nice idea to get, and I think it encouraged, I don't know, Cydia and the main repos have got some big names out, and it seems to be flooded with the big names, and it's hard if you're a smaller guy to get your stuff out there.
And it really is. Like, I was talking to somebody, he's a new themer, and he's got some nice work. I've seen his latest theme that he put out, and he was saying it's kind of depressing because he goes over to Modline and nobody really, says anything to him. And I said, bro, in this game you have to have a name, and even somebody like me who has as many subscribers as I do and as many followers, I still have trouble because my name's not out there as a themer. You know what I mean? So,
I built one theme, and at total, I think I released it 3-4 months ago. I sold 49 copies, and it was only $1. And it is difficult. And yeah, my theme wasn't the best, but it is populated with big names in the industry.
You're absolutely right. Black Gold, I think, sold 232 copies, which wasn't bad,
No.
And it was a clean, slick theme. Azurite sold 78 copies so far, so that tells you, it's just you got to find that perfect theme that people really want.
It's got to be, and it's got to have everything nowadays. It's not like in the spicy days, is it, where you change some icons or change the carrier name. I mean, themes nowadays are massive things. You're having widgets, you're having 3D displays on them.
And believe it or not, I mean, people do like widgets, but there's a lot of people out there that don't care about the widgets. They just want a nice, clean theme. I like, if you look at Azurite, I have a springboard widget on there, a real small widget. It's just right down below the dock, or above the dock, and it's real tiny, so it's not like kicking your ass, but it's to me, it depends on the widget. So, you know what I mean? It depends. Go ahead.
I'm not a huge themer, and my device isn't themed at the moment, and I don't generally theme, and it has to be a special theme for even to have Winterboard on my device, to be honest with you. And I'm not a huge widget fan at all. Yeah. Well,
that's my new theme.
This is my theme. Stock Apple. I might release it on Cydia.
That's what I'm working on.
I like it.
Yeah, it's just something simple, sleek. I'm trying not to get into the bright colors shouting at you, yelling, screaming at you.
No, I'm quite a. I don't know if anybody or you saw my bio stock theme, but it was very dull. It wasn't in your face. It wasn't a complete theme at the end of the day, and I lost confidence with it. But the way themes are going, they're really hard to get into.
Let me tell you something. You can't lose confidence when it comes to themes because you're never going to be as good as somebody else. And that's not being mean.
No, it's not.
I mean, because you got people like Zauzer or K-Nitsua or June's iPhone, these guys are making great themes. And I'll never take anything away from them. But until you get out there and get your name out, it's going to be hard. Like I told you, I have that many followers and subscribers, and it's still hard for me because I have my name out there as like a great themer at the moment. But I'm working on it, and that's all you can do. You can just keep practicing. I mean, I remember when June started, some of his stuff wasn't the greatest, and then he just kept practicing, kept doing Photoshop, and now look what he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, some of that stuff is sick, no matter what people say about, some people, you got all kinds of haters, but no matter what people say, that kid puts a lot of work into his themes.
He does, yeah.
And Zauzer, K-Nitsua, IEFX, all great people that put out great themes.
And themes aren't easy to A, come up with an idea for, or B, theme, to be honest, are you? I mean, there's literally thousands of things for a complete theme that you have to change.
And that's, we were having a discussion on crack themes the other day. I rarely ever complain about it. It's just one of them things. I look as them 3,000 people that downloaded it wouldn't have bought it anyways if they couldn't have cracked it. You know what I mean? And by the time the next new theme comes out, they're going to download that one anyways. And they're going to forget all about mine. And it's one of them things that you just got to do what you love and just enjoy it, and you'll get that following that people will actually support what you're doing. Because in all honesty, my themes, aren't as detailed as some of these other themes. I mean, they're detailed as in they have everything's themed, but they don't. I don't, make one icon and put all this detail into it like some of these people.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the skills at the moment, to do it. It takes me up to a month to complete a theme. Like, for example, the other day I was doing an image. It was 640 by 960. It took me 3 hours to do the image, and I deleted it.
I saw you posted on Twitter that you deleted it.
So before you go and take a theme, just think of how much people put into it, And I understand there's people out there that don't have the cash, that don't have the means to do it. Hit up a theme guy, and most likely they'll give it to you. I've given more copies away of
I did. I'd give more copies away of my theme than I actually sold, and I think it's one of those things. Yeah. Which brings me on to my next question. It seems of late that people are getting into the community as themers, and they are good at it. But back in the old spicy days, spicy chicken days, people weren't selling themes, were they? Everything was uploaded for free.
Yeah,
and
everything was free.
Do you think people are now joining the community just to sell and just to make some money off us, or?
Honestly, I don't think that's the case. I think people just stumble upon jailbreaking like most of us have. But I think what happens is they see that people are making money off things, and there's nothing wrong with making money off things. As long as you worked hard on it and you put it out and people like it, you should have a right to sell it. It should be up. Does it suck to get cracked and stuff? Sure it does. But it is what it is. I mean, if you look, and this goes towards everybody, including myself, I use a portable Photoshop. I didn't pay for it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So how can I complain about somebody taking my work when I'm turning around taking somebody else's work?
Yeah.
Most themes, you won't find it in my themes, but most themes have an install this icon in it.
Yeah, they do.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, you cannot tell somebody they can't do something when you yourself are doing something.
No.
No matter if it's a big company or not, stealing is stealing.
Yeah, if you went to court for it, it's the same thing, isn't it?
It sucks, but whining and moping about it gets you nowhere. It makes you frustrated. So I tell people, I try to explain to them that whole shablob with 3,000 people downloaded it, but in all reality, they're going to forget about it as soon as that next new theme comes out. Your biggest supporters are always going to download your stuff as long as they like your stuff and they feel that you're good, support for them if they have questions. You can't just be like, well, I put the README file in there, read that, and leave me alone, because they're not going to want to buy your work ever again.
No, they're not.
It's just like you go to a restaurant and your waitress spits in your face, you're not going to go back. You know what I mean?
It's true. So, other than your own themes that you've obviously got on your device and you've just shown us, what's your biggest favourite theme of all time?
That's too hard to say, in all honesty. I mean, if you remember a few months ago, all I did was theme reviews.
Yeah.
I have so many themes that I couldn't even say. Right now, I would probably say the nicest theme that I'm rocking right now would probably be Redline.
Yeah.
And that's not a cut at anybody else's work that's given it to me. It's just, I just really like the flow of Redline. It's a nice, smooth, clean theme. So I got to give big props to Zauser and IEFXX, damn internet names.
So,
Edward is his name.
So you're obviously a big into your iOS and your jailbreaking. Is there any particular apps out there or tweaks that you think that some of our viewers should go and grab their hands on?
Apps? I actually just showed everybody a TV app today. It was a free TV app. I mean, it's not the greatest, but you can watch movies and stuff on it, watch TV, and it's real time. I'd probably say that's a pretty cool app if you're into watching TV. It's like free TV, or what's it called? Like, I go on this site all the time and check for apps because, like I said, it's called Watch TV is basically what it's called.
You can't get an easier name.
And I actually just got that call bar tweak, which is a really sweet tweak. Instead of, pulling up your whole phone when you're in an app or something, it just pulls a little bar across and you can answer a line. So that's a nice little tweak. iFile, most definitely.
iFiles is always at the top, isn't it?
iFile is always the first thing I download.
Yeah, myself. I mean, I'm running beta 3 at the moment, and iFile, not much works out there, because a lot of people are waiting until iOS 5 becomes
Definitely
public
SB
release.
settings, of course. Gotta have SB settings.
You
But
know,
I guess there's a new sort of SB setting that just came out for like Beta 5 or ISO 5 or whatever.
yeah, it's UI settings. It doesn't do exactly the same. We've done a video on it. I don't know if you can see that there. It's the bar with all the just under the weather widget. That's it. It just just gives you the option to turn your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth, your location, and respring.
I'm kind of stuck on SB settings because that's like my thing. That's the second thing I download. It goes iFile, SB settings, and then Open SSH.
Big Boss might come out with something once iOS 5 becomes public. You never know. I mean, SB settings has been there for an awful long time with us now, so I can't see him dropping it anytime soon. Hopefully he'll incorporate it into the notification center, and it'll be a lot better. So where did the name Jima6636 come from?
Everybody always asks me that. When I first got a computer, like I'm not a technical guy, or I should say I'm not a technical guy when I first started out. I got a computer to play cards. That's basically what I got a computer for. So I started online poker on Poker Stars, which now is closed down here in the U.S. But I needed a name, and the only thing I could think of was All In Jim, and I added the 6636 because it's 21, which 21 is a blackjack term, which is a card.
Yeah.
So it was All In Jim 6636, and then going over to YouTube, I didn't really want to use All In Jim because I know trolls and stuff would just kill that name. Oh yeah, All In Jim. Where are you all in, buddy? Just stupid stuff. So I dropped the All In and then just put Jim A, which Jim A is my name, Jim Andrews, and then 636.
So
and it just kind of stuck.
It's one of those things like anything, isn't it? You come up with a name once, and I think no matter how long you spend in social networks, then that just becomes and it carries forward with everything.
And I use it everywhere. Like I see a lot of people that use different names, and I just stick with that name. And it surprises me on how many people get it wrong. Even with me, with my bad names, where I mess up everybody's name on my videos. It's like a simple Jim A, and they're like Jimma. Like, no, it's not Jimma. It's Jim A. I wasn't putting a space in between it. It's Jim A. But I let them go. They're like, hey, Jimma, how you doing? So, it's one of them things.
Now, rumour has it on Twitter that you're a big midget lover. So how does that come about, if it's clean?
That's another one of my... Jima6636 is a persona. It's a fun persona that I can mess with people and just say random stuff, just to keep people on their toes, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's just one of them things that popped into my head one day, and I was just like, man, I love midgets. And it just kind of took off from there, and everybody's always like, oh, you love your midgets, don't you? So I just kind of go with it. It's just, if it makes people smile, then why not? You know what I mean? It's just one of them random things. If you look at my Twitter bio, it says, if you want to hear random bull BS, then you came to the right place.
It certainly does. And now you've got somebody even copying your Twitter bio.
Yeah, well, that's the second time I've seen it. The first time the kid actually, copy and paste. And I'm the only one that's done that ever with my bio. You know what I mean? And then I go... and I see this other kid, and he basically has it word for word.
He does, yeah. I've just seen that tonight. And
it's just like, man, can't people just be original? I just, that was one of them things that I popped off in my head and threw it up there and figured people would see it and just get a smile out of it. And, I don't care that they take it, but try to be a little original.
I think if there's one thing that you have to be in this community, and it's definitely original, would you say that's true, Jim?
I would definitely agree, because if you're not original, then you're probably not going to get noticed if that's what you're trying to do, most definitely. If you're just like, like Ty Moss. Ty Moss is one of my good friends, Ty's iPhone help. And when he started out, he basically did what I did. He did iPhone videos, jailbreaks, tweaks, and all that. I didn't modify myself after Ty because, There's already a tie. I don't need a tie.
It's true.
You need a Jima. When I do my videos, I screw up. I film it. You know, I swear. I smoke cigarettes. You know, I'm not a role model. I'm just a guy making videos trying to help people. I don't expect you to care what I do as long as I'm helping. You know, Ty Moss, he's the total opposite. He's very polite, doesn't swear, you know, doesn't smoke in his videos, doesn't fight with his haters and stuff like I do. I'm just the total opposite, and that's what you need to be. You need to be original. You need to be yourself, and just
see what you can bring. See what you can bring to the table.
Absolutely.
So, last question, Jim. Will you be getting the iPhone 4S or iPhone 5?
Most likely, unfortunately.
It's an addictive thing.
Yeah, like I'm surprised I don't have an iPad 2.
I haven't got an iPad 2, and mainly because I can't see the point in them. I've got an iPhone 4, so I don't need any more cameras to carry around with me.
And that's what I was like, everybody's like, get an iPad 2 when I bought my iPad. And I'm like, for what? They're like, oh, it's got a video camera. Who the hell wants to carry the big-ass thing around and videotape? You know, and they're like, oh, it's smaller and thinner. I don't care. My wife wants to watch movies and like games, and it sits in her lap. It's not like she cares, you know, the size of it. That's what she said. Totally
agree. So is there anything else that you want to tell our viewers and your viewers?
I love you.
I love you too. So thanks for joining us, Jim. This has been D900 Man and Jim6636 for My Great iPhone. Cheers for watching, and we'll bring you the next edition of Meet the Community shortly.